There's a myth going round town that when you get older you just sit down and start rocking, just rocking. In a way that's true, if you know what I mean. Just take a look at the senior scene.
Hello?
Well, it's rocking.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Usually don't need a microphone, so they make me a little nervous. I'm Ryan LaValle. I'm a postdoc with the Partnerships in Aging program, and I'm really excited that you all came this evening. This is the... This is the inaugural sort of event for the PIAP's The Stories Initiative, which is sort of a big project that we've started to sort of gather different stories around aging that expand the narrative, that make us think a little bit more broadly about what aging is. And so we thought it might be a great theme to start out with talking about positive aging. The Partnerships in Aging program is a program at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and we are actually sort of a bridge community to university program that's really focused around building relationships and partnerships, since it's in our name, with the community around the university, and making sure that programs and things can move forward that are related to aging, older adulthood, and education, and interprofessional education, and lots of different things. So many of you found a little sheet on your chair. Feel free to check the website out and look at all the different things that we're involved in, or talk with any of our wonderful panelists on the back table who know lots of things about PIAP. I do want to give some thanks to Flyleaf first for hosting the event. We're really excited to have this wonderful space here. To Sherry Roseman, the director of the Partnerships in Aging program, for letting this happen and being in full support of all of our crazy ideas. So thank you. To our 5 storytellers who I'll introduce throughout the evening, but for being brave enough to get up here and tell us some stories and personal tales. And then finally our events committee, Peggy Cohn and Allie Little, who helped to plan a lot of this and host your events. So thank you so much. If you want to know more about PIAP, feel free to stop me or Sherry or Jenny, who is our associate director as well, who's sitting at the back table in purple, and we can talk about all of that. We're part of 3 of the 4 leadership team members. Cass Dictus, right over here, is our 4th member on the leadership team. So feel free to stop and talk to us, or ask us questions, or just hang out. So we are on a pretty tight schedule this evening. We want to make sure all of our storytellers have some time and make sure that they have enough pace to be able to take their time and tell us the story they want to. So without further ado, can I borrow this? The first person I'm going to introduce is Yvette Misri. She is a litigation counsel at the Center for Responsible Lending on the federal policy team. That is a recent shift from our wonderful Orange County Department on Aging. She was actually my boss before she left the Department on Aging. She used to work with the volunteer program and manage the administration there. And finally, she really enjoys peaceful mornings on her back porch, long walks with her dog, and spending time with her husband, womp womp, and 2 daughters. Okay, so I'm going to turn over the microphone to Yvette.
This is great. Okay, well I'm gonna sit down.
Sit down.
I'm not. All right. So great to be back at home with friends. So, some thoughts on aging. From the time I can remember, I've always wanted to be older. When I was 9, and my parents forced us to give away our yellow Cocker Spaniel puppy, I took Sonny and ran away with him to my best friend's house, hoping that would convince my parents to keep Sonny. It didn't. It just wasn't my decision to make. I simply wasn't old enough. Fast forward a few years to my sometimes turbulent but very fun-filled high school years, marked by angst, unpredictability, and absolute boy craziness. Oh, how I yearned to be as old as I dressed and as independent as I pretended to be when I would sneak out of my bedroom window to see one of those boys that I was so crazy about. As a 20-year-old college student, I secured myself a fake ID. Well, actually, the real ID of my very generous older sister, Esther. And for that short year, approaching the legal drinking age, I entered bars and clubs with the confidence of somebody much older. I was on top of the world. I remember entering my first bar with my newly minted ID in Foggy Bottom, Washington, D.C., where I went to college, where I proceeded to order a Goldschlager shot. It was a drink that I had only heard about from those who came before me, and it tasted amazing, like cinnamon combined with Fireball candy syrup. And the legends were all true. The drink actually had small gold flakes of real gold in it. I was so impressed that I decided to have 3 more Goldschlager shots. And even though I ended up throwing up in the bathroom all night, and then being sick for 2 days after that, I felt that I had arrived. Oh, those were the days. As a young lawyer, fresh out of law school at the age of 25 years old, doing domestic violence litigation, I worked very hard to do everything I could to look and act as old as possible in order to be taken seriously by my sometimes skeptical domestic violence clients who were counting on me to secure their family's safety and to be respected by opposing attorneys and judges. Looking back, I was very young, and I looked even younger back then. It was no surprise that even standing in my conservative black suits with my hair pulled back in a neat bun, that I was asked multiple times, "Are you a real lawyer?" I still remember the mix of anger and shame I felt for looking so young. Now, firmly in my 40s, I no longer feel mad or embarrassed about not looking older. I'm starting to experience the inconveniences of aging. Twisting my ankle for simply crossing the street in a hurry, requiring reading glasses now, but only in one eye so far. Actually Googling best skin products to reduce signs of aging, and then purchasing all of the items and now using them religiously. And then there are the harder, crueler things. Watching my parents struggle with increasing illness and finite years before them, including my diabetic mother, who is no longer able to swallow liquids with ease. Witnessing close friends enduring the death of a parent, the loss of a spouse or marriage, or a loss of love for life. And then my big realization, I've now realized that I've wasted too much damn time worrying about fitting in all of these years, wanting to belong and be accepted as I am. Because it turns out that belonging is an inside job that I do have lots of control over. What a relief. It also turns out that wondering if I have what it takes to survive this life has been all for naught. Nothing in my 44 years has killed me or crippled me beyond repair. Could it be because I was never really broken, but always in fact whole? Yes, it turns out I have always been whole. And in my newly discovered wholeness, I've discovered some really great things about getting older. Things that only come from living through things. First, almost everything turns out to be totally figure-outable. The small and the big stuff. Even if it ultimately turns out to be so in a very different way than I had imagined. I also now know that it's really true that hard times and hard to feel feelings really all pass with time. And through becoming a mom and taking on many different jobs and careers so far, I've learned that we can really do hard things. For instance, with the right mindset and time, we can actually teach ourselves almost anything. How to be a good parent, a true friend, even a storyteller. We may never master these new things and do them perfectly, but that's okay. And here's the best part about being my age. I now get to decide if I want a family dog. Ace, our yellow lab mix, is now 13 years old. And in all of these years, I have never had to run away from home to be able to keep him. So at 44, life is pretty darn good. In addition to deciding to be a dog owner, I also get to decide to spend my life with my love, Matt, and to be the best mom I can to my two amazing human beings, Isabella and Angelina. I don't know what the next decades will bring me, but I know there's way more to come. And for that, I am forever excited.
I thought that would be a great opener to just give us some hope and excitement about what we're going to be talking about tonight. So thank you so much for that. I did want to read one of our reasons why we like the age that we are, and I thought this was quite funny because I sort of relate. I don't have to go to parties anymore. Our next storyteller is Joe Wheeler. He has directed a successful consulting practice for more than 25 years and specializes in organization development, group facilitation, and training, and with a commitment to support organizations to respond to the 21st century workforce. Mr. Wheeler has directed diversity and inclusion initiatives for a number of Fortune 500 companies and project management for training rollouts that include thousands of employees. Currently, Mr. Wheeler volunteers as the coordinator of SAGE Raleigh, a program of the LGBT Center of Raleigh that focuses on the needs and issues of LGBTQ+ people over the age of 50. And he is currently working with Jenny to talk about different spaces of intergenerational spaces with PIAP and an initiative called SAGE Table. So welcome, Joe. Thank you.
This is my timer to keep me honest. And it just stopped. Oh, there you go.
We got you covered.
You got me covered.
Yeah.
All right. So good evening and welcome. When I got the invitation to speak about what's so great about being 68 years old, because I turned 68 2 days ago, and I was thinking, 67 is like, well, I'm a little over 65. 68 is like, I'm pushing 70. And so I thought, okay, maybe it's my bum knee that gives out when I try to stand up. And I thought, no, it's not that. Maybe it's that I get to take cholesterol medicine. I thought, no, it's not that. Maybe it's that I get to see my digital clock every night sometime between 2 and 3 a.m. And every man here over 50 is going, yeah, I get it. And then I called my sister, who's 70. She lives in Florida. And so we came up with actually about 30 reasons. The first benefit that we thought of is 67-cent coffee at McDonald's, free coffee at Wendy's, 10% off in any chain hotel. Now that wasn't it either. And so as I really began to think about what is so great about being my age, and I came up with two things, equanimity and humility. And here's where the equanimity comes from. I have realized somewhere along my journey that if you stay on this planet long enough, stuff will happen to you. And so rather than asking, why me? I often ask, why not me? Two things that stand out to me. One is my husband is a bit older than I. He's 92 years old. This last year, he has had 3 operations. He's been in the hospital 3 different times, one time for a month. He's been in 3 different rehabs. And I tell him, because one of the things I'm very clear about, as we age, we need to be with other people. Not just we want to be with other people, we need to be with other people. And so I tell him that he's lucky at 92 that he married a young, hot lover who can help take care of him. And why are you laughing? We saw a urologist this last week that we both see annually, so we just schedule our appointment at the same time. And with Paul out of the room, the doctor said to me, he said, you know, if it weren't for you, he wouldn't be alive today. And I said, yeah, I know that. I know that. And so I know that we need to be, that stuff will happen, and we need to be in this together. The other is humility. What actually, in the work I do in SAGE with LGBTQ folks who are aging, came about because my best friend was in an automobile accident 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago now, and from that has traumatic brain injury. And this is a fellow who was married, has 4 kids. His wife died of cancer. The year after that, he decided that he would, for the first time, explore the part of himself that he knew was there as a gay man. And we met in October of 2012. And in June of 2013, he was going out for a morning bagel, 5:45 in the morning, and a distracted driver ran a stop sign. And he ended up in a coma with broken ribs and a broken pelvis and traumatic brain injury. And I have been a part of his ongoing experience. One of the things is he can't code short-term memories. So basically, I've learned not to ask him what he had for breakfast because it will cause him to cry. But he can tell me about when he hurt his finger when he was 16 years old, working with a mortar mixer, and he not only can tell me that whenever he starts a story, I don't believe I've told you this before, I know I'm going to hear about his bad finger. And this is where the humility comes in. One of the things that we do for fun is I pick him up. He is now at Mayview in Raleigh. He's in the long-term care facility. And I pick him up and I take him out and we drive around and we look at the clouds. I'm not going to ask you for a show of hands, but I am going to ask you to think about, did you look at the clouds today? Did you stop to look at the clouds? Because here's what I know. We can go look at the clouds on Tuesday, and when we go out on Wednesday, for him, it's a new experience. And the clouds might be fluffy, they might be majestic, they might be threatening, but we always put some words to what is our experience of the clouds. And if you've ever noticed, you can look to the east, and then you look to the south, and the clouds are entirely different. Now, I once looked up and found out that the reason the clouds have different colors and different textures is because it has to do with the amount of precipitation in the sky, and that sort of ruined the magic for me. But I claim the magic back every time I'm with my friend Ross, and we look at the clouds, and I will say to him, you know, those clouds are just there for us. And the reason they're there for us is because we're the only ones looking at them. And when I look at the clouds, I have this sense of humility because I realize that there is something much greater going on than whatever is happening in my life. My trick knee, my cholesterol, my waking up in the middle of the night. There's something much greater going on. And so, I appreciate this opportunity to think about and talk about how great it is to be 68. Thank you.
Such a great story. I am going to read another one of our our moments or reasons why people like the age that they like. And I just want you to know I'm specifically not saying the ages here because it sort of challenges you to think that many different people of different ages could be saying these great things about those different ages. So this one says, I don't have to go to school. I want to go to school. So I think that challenges us to think about school, which is appropriate for our next speaker. Our next speaker is Amber Brown. She is a bright and intelligent young lady. She is the daughter of LaTanya and Quincy Brown and the sister of Joshua Brown. She is currently in 3rd grade at Chatham County and is very well-rounded as both a student and a member of her community. Amber loves fashion and has even taken it a step further and has become a model. She has participated in several modeling shows for big-name brand companies and designers such as Ralph Lauren, Gap, and Matilda Jane Clothing. And Amber has a very loving and caring personality and always willing to help those in need. She truly is an amazing young lady. And I met her at the senior center, which was a weird place to meet an 8-year-old, but it was wonderful. And I just thought of her, and when we started talking about storytellers who had presence and power, and I think she's going to be wonderful. So, welcome to the stage, Amber.
Hello everyone, my name is Amber and you guys might know me around the senior center. I am the daughter of LaTanya Brown and Quincy Brown, and I have a brother named Josh. And this is how I feel growing up in a kid's body. So when I was 1, my mom told me I was really cute, and I actually believed that because I had a picture in my room, and I had really chubby cheeks when I was a little kid. And so, basically, I would look at that picture and like, wow, I look completely different. And so, can you guys give a thumbs up if you agree? And actually soon I started walking at about 10 months, and after that I started talking, and my first word was dada, which my parents were both really proud of. And then when I was 2, I started preschool and I had to give away my passy, and I was like, no. And now, when I was 3, so basically when I was 3, my mom told me to clean up my room, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to. So I had this big space under my bed, and I just like crawl while pushing all the toys under my bed. And then on my birthday, I woke up and my mom had strings and balloons in front of my door. I'm like, okay, and I had to break through it. And then at breakfast, I was eating, and my mom gave me a kit of a purple and pink, like they had like flowers and other types of like, I think they had butterflies, and they were these bracelets, and like, I feel like this brand is like, I forgot the brand I said, but I think I'm like, is this brand something? And like, she's like, no, it's not that brand, but I'm like, it looks like, the packaging looks like it though. And so when I was 4, that's when I started currently modeling, skiing, and dancing. And like, I like those things because I felt like they were really connected to me in like some type of way. And like when I felt that, I'm like, this is my thing. Like I get to do this when I get to do this. And like when I did that, it was really like, I feel like some things, like usually I get really calm when I do those things for some reason. Usually people get a little bit scared or nervous, but I feel really calm because it's something that's fun, and you don't really get a chance to do that in certain places or things or what you're going through. I said I might as well do it since I'm young, and so I said, like, there's a chance of being more, like, so basically, like, there's a chance of being more of that person that you want to be when you're younger, because you know who you want to be, and you know who you are, so nobody can really take that away from you. Soon I was, am I 4 or 5? 5. So when I was 5, I started kindergarten, and I started to perform and ski more with my friends. Usually I ski with my friend named Kat. Her name is Catherine, but I call her Kat for short. And like when I was skiing, I met her, and it was just like an unbreakable friendship. And so now, my dad, he won't let me go to Tahoe because he's like, oh, I want to do this. I'm like, Dad, I want to go to Tahoe to see Kat. And then when I was 6, I started cooking, and I went to help with cookouts, and I did Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners. And soon I was 8. Okay, here comes like another cooking part. So basically I was 8, and I was putting the eggs in the bowl to mix them, and I accidentally dropped the bowl into the mixer while it was mixing. And we all started laughing super hard. And that was like one of my favorite moments when I was actually 8, so yeah. And that's all.
Thank you, Amber, so much. Oh, you wanted to sing? Good performance, 2 in 1.
Is it anybody's like close near or like past birthday?
Yeah, Joe's actually.
Okay, so I have something for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe. Happy birthday to you.
What a great reminder to think of those moments when the details really matter, and you get to remember those small things as you grow older. And how many of us can go year by year and tell the things that we remember about those things? So maybe a perk of being a little bit younger. Thank you so much, Amber. I wanted to read another example that someone gave, that they're glad to be 20 because I still have a lot to learn. So a little bit of a different take on being younger.
We paid our dues all those years, and it's so nice to be switching gears. It's a grand new century, and it's the senior life, the senior life, the senior life for me.